The Detroit Lions open up at 10.5. They went 12-5 last year. They've had a fun offseason. Dan Campbell has this team ready to go. It's no mystery that I think that this team wins the division. I'll go ahead and play my cards here. I have them going over. I think they win the division pretty easily. I do think there's one team in this division that's going to give them a run for their money, especially down the second half of the stretch. But I think the Lions have what it takes to win this division, make it to the playoffs, and get the 1 seed here. Where do you have them?
So you're saying over 10.5?
Over 10.5.
I'm with you. I'm also going over. I know a lot of people have this team as maybe, I think a lot of people probably have the Lions as a Super Bowl favorite. First off, let's just take a time out. I mean, you were born in 95. It is so weird to have the Lions be good because they are one of those few franchises, like a lot of NFL franchises, have their peaks and valleys. That's just what happens. The Lions have sucked my entire life. Seriously.
I know you said we were born in 95, but you got to remember they haven't been good since like the 70s. So they've sucked for a lot of people for their entire lives.
Right. It's not like they've ever been a powerhouse and are trying to go back to the days of old. They've just kind of always been a laughingstock. Obviously, they've had their moments and they're great players, but it's so cool to see them be this good. Me and you were believers of Dan Campbell once he came in because it was clear right away he was building a culture, even if the first press conference was kind of funny, but he backed it up. This is a tough physical football team, and Jared Goff has reinvented his career. They're such a fun team to watch. I agree with you. I'm going over. I don't know yet. We're not locking in where we think they're going or playoffs or anything till next week. I don't know if they can match or surpass the success they had last year, just because it's really difficult to. It's really difficult, but they are one of the best rosters in the NFC. And to me, the number one issue for the Lions was the secondary. That was really where they fell apart. The rest of the team was excellent. Their secondary was, I don't think it's hyperbolic to say, one of the worst in the league. They were terrible. So they've got a lot of upgrades. They've upgraded their strong safety position, and they've upgraded 2 of their corner positions. They brought in Carlton Davis, and they brought in Amik Robertson. That alone should, I think, elevate them. So if your secondary gets elevated and the rest of the team just stays at the level it was playing at, they should be competing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, you're right. Their offense finished second overall, according to PFF. Their defense finished 19th. So this defense does have to step up. They do have to step up this year, especially when you have teams in this division that are going to be gunning for you the entire year. And they've also improved at several different areas. This division is not what it was last year. It's much tougher this year, for sure.
Probably the toughest division in football, in my opinion.
Yep. The most competitive.
It's looking that way.
The most competitive for 100% guaranteed. But you're right, though. The cornerback position was where they needed help. I love that they drafted Terrion Arnold, with one of their first draft picks. So I think that's going to be a big help as well. This offense, though, it's going to continue to shine. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to eat this year. We've done probably, 5 mock drafts in the past couple of weeks getting ready for a fantasy football season, and Amon-Ra's gone, within the first 7 picks, every single one we've done.
I'm picking 4th and I'm strongly considering him.
Right.
Because he's so consistent and reliable.
Yes, he's going to be a target monster for sure. What do you think about the running back room?
I think the running back room is excellent. I think it should be better. I think another year with Jahmyr Gibbs, I think he's going to be more involved, really. Not that he wasn't involved last year. I just think it's going to elevate him even more. I don't know if Montgomery has the same stats as he did last year. I think Gibbs probably pulls some of that away. Exactly.
He's going to eat into that percentage. Yeah, it's going to be a split backfield for sure. Even more so, probably lopsided to Gibbs, I would imagine, this year.
Yeah, for 100%.
Another year under your belt. The guy's fresh legs. He's still young, really young, and coming off of a really good rookie season last year, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Coming off his rookie season. And I think it's hopeful. We don't know. Jamison Williams was awesome at Alabama. He has had, the injury, then he had the suspension. So last year was his first real opportunity. Didn't really get going. If Jamison Williams could be a real threat for Detroit and be that burner, that deep shot, because Amon-Ra is more of a slot player, they could be really dangerous. They could really elevate offensively. I don't know if I expect that, but I do expect him to get, more workload. Let's just hope he can stay healthy, stay on the field. I have a question for you about the team.
Let's go.
We obviously both think they're going to be very good. We think they are Super Bowl contenders. What is the scenario for the Lions? So that's, best case scenario is NFC Championship, or actually, best case scenario is a Super Bowl win. That's
Right.
how good this team is. This team is good enough. Brad Holmes, excellent job as a GM. They continue to draft well. They're going to be rookies this year that perform. Sam Laporta last year had the best rookie season of any tight end ever. So we know best case scenario is a Super Bowl victory. What do you think is worst case scenario for the Detroit Lions? Like, what goes wrong and where does it lead them? Where could this hopeful season go awry?
It's really hard to kind of pinpoint that, right? Like, I would have to say it lies on the defensive side of the ball. I believe that this offense, barring injury, I don't want to throw injuries into this because
yes,
excuse
of course.
everything. So
You could say that for every team.
absolutely, right? So one big guy on any team will dramatically change your season. So I think it's the defensive side of the ball. If they don't improve from 19th overall defense last year, this year, they are going to continue to fall into that same trap of being just a step behind all the other teams. Because, I mean, you look at the Bears, their problem last year was the offense, right? Well, seemingly so, they've improved that offense. Their defense is still really good. So you're competing with a lot of good defenses, even within your division, but all across the NFL and NFC for that matter. So I think that if you don't improve that cornerback room, if those guys don't step up, Robertson and others,
Carlton Davis,
you're going to have a rough season. And these other quarterbacks, Jordan Love, Caleb Williams, you're going to have these guys that you're going to have to defend against, these deep ball passers, these dynamic passers. And if you don't do that, they're going to score points on you. That's kind of the outcome of that, right? So if you don't fix that, you have a really rough season ahead. That's me. What about you?
I agree. I mean, you could say, obviously, if the offense takes a step back, I don't expect it to. Maybe a small one, but it shouldn't be much. I expect them to anything. Honestly, I maybe expect them to be better. Two scenarios. If Jared Goff somehow regresses, I don't expect that. I think we know who Goff is at this point. He has a lot of indoor games. He plays in the NFC, plays in the Dome. I think he's going to be fine. I agree with you. The worst case scenario for this team is you've brought in all these positions. They've addressed it in the offseason. They did what a good, franchise should do. They addressed their biggest weakness and they hopefully fixed it. But if those guys that you're bringing into the secondary don't elevate that level of play, and not just elevate it a little, elevate it significantly. Like, they need to be a top half pass defense to really be a Super Bowl contender. If that doesn't happen, I think the season might be a little bit of a letdown, but hopefully it does. I think it does, and I'm sticking with the over.
They have to be top 12 or better, and you cannot tell me that Dan Campbell does not have this team ready to go day one to be in that top 12 category on defense and finish in the top 5 in offense again. You would be, I personally, I put words in your mouth, but I would be shocked if we don't see this offense finish top 5, and I would be even more shocked if Dan Campbell drops the ball and has this defense finishing outside the top 12 again.